guys? We are back this week for UFC Qatar. Arman Tsurukyan taking on Dan Hooker. Nasty co-main event between some welterweights. After UFC 322, we just had a whole slew of welterweights. One of these guys could end up putting their name in the hat for maybe a title shot. We got Belal Muhammad taking on GARRY. A lot of fun fights on this card. Excited to break it down with you guys. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and let's get the full card predictions underway. Starting it off with the first fight of the night, we got BULJO taking on Denzel Freeman. Okay, so I had to do some investigating on this BULJO guy, right? He's on a 6-fight win streak. All of these fights have ended in the first round. Got some, TKOs, some submissions. A year ago, a couple submission wins, right? But you gotta go through and look at the competition that this dude is fighting. Go look at the tape too. I beg you. This guy, Guram Zivadazadze, 3-5. Malcolm Douglas, 13-12. Colquhoun, 6-4, 2-6, 0-2, 1-1. Terrible records, right? Then you go look at the tape. Everybody's just flinching, dropping down into a ball and just letting this dude do whatever. It looks like a lot of those fights were fixed. Low-level competition, comp his ass. Dude, he's got some jiu-jitsu, whatever. Closes distance, looks for the takedown. Avoids striking at every possible exchange that he can. He wants to get the fight to the ground, submit you, or get a TKO. But he's fighting Denzel Freeman, who's not going to lay down. A lot of the opponents that this dude has fought, they go in there because they got some money in their pocket. I'm sure of it. Go in there, lay down, stuff his record, and let's build him. I am picking Denzel Freeman. There's no odds yet. I hope. I'm praying that he's the underdog because I'm taking him straight money line. Denzel Freeman, better athlete, better competition, can stop the takedowns. He's got a win over Stephen Asplin about a year ago, who was on the Contender Series not too long ago. Got a big knockout in the first round. Who looks to be UFC caliber at least. We haven't seen him in the UFC yet, but impressive finish on the Contender Series. I think he's the better wrestler too. I don't think he's gonna go in there and lay down like a lot of the opponents that BULJO has taken on. I think he can incorporate some trips, some tosses. Has some really good tosses that I saw. Was able to get Asplin down. Asplin's a really big heavyweight too. I think he cut down from, I believe he said like 450 pounds. He was talking about it on the Contender Series, little interview thing that they do. I got Denzel Freeman, man. He can strike on the feet. I can see him stuffing takedowns and bullying BULJO. I think Freeman is live for a knockout, if not dominant 30-27, but I got Denzel Freeman all the way. There's no odds on this fight yet, but like I said, man, look, everyone is smashing BULJO, but you got to really go look at the tape. This dude is trash. Oh, I'm not going to say he's trash, but his opposition has been trash. So I'm going Denzel Freeman. We've seen him in the LFA. Got a TKO 7 months ago. Submission over Asplin. He lost a split decision 2.5 years ago. But again, better competition, at least at this point. 8-2. Hugo was pretty solid. And then the Asplin fight definitely shows me that he's more UFC caliber than Marek BULJO. So I'm taking I'm taking Denzel Freeman money line. I'm hoping he's the underdog. Hopefully like a wide underdog too, because I would smash that. It is a short notice fight, but he's had a couple of weeks to prepare for it. Hopefully he doesn't, fly in today or something like that, get in there and be all jet laggy. But I got Denzel Freeman. I think he should put on a show. I think he should stop BULJO inside of the 3 rounds. Next fight, we got Sagid IZAGAKMAEV, I believe that's how you say it, taking on Nicholas Dalby. I like Dalby, man. I know he got finished last time out against Randy Brown. I like his pressure. I like his aggression. He's in there to fight. He got like this weird breathing technique. I was reading about it the other day where like it looks like he's hyperventilating and like he's gassed, but he's really just getting more oxygen to his muscles. So, in fights, he might look like he's gassed, but it's actually a really smart breathing technique that he's been able to incorporate. And he needs that with his style. He's always walking forward. He's always trying to be the aggressor in the fight. But I think in this matchup, he could get clipped. Not going to say he gets knocked out, but I definitely could see him getting clipped down the middle. Looking at Dalby, man, damn, he's 41 years old. He just turned 41. So you know, it was time. I believe Randy Brown was the first guy to put him out, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, first guy to put him out. Dalby, man, he's solid, gritty pressure striker. Will force a lot of action, like I was just saying. Good body lock, takedown entries. We saw him be able to, you know, reverse a lot of positions against Bonfim. And at first, I was like, maybe he can do the same thing here against Sagid. But Sagid, he trains with, you know, Islam, Habib, that camp. Not a lot of guys are going to be able to reverse the control that they have. We'll speak about the control when we get to the Bilal fight. But yeah, I think Sagate is a solid pick here. I think he wins. I like he's got really good straight shots. Looks to wrestle, good positional control, decent combinations, good low kicks. Can't fight out of both stances, which is pretty cool too. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Islam. Not as clean as Islam, but definitely has some solid striking, I would say. Got 12 submission wins. One thing that really stuck out to me was he got subbed by Carlson Harris a couple years ago. And I'm like, I looked at that on paper. I'm like, Carlson Harris, 2021. Carlson Harris is trash. It is what it is. You know, everyone's got a little blemish on their record, but I think Sagid is a pretty solid pick here. I think he can force the wrestling, or not force the wrestling, but I think the wrestling will be available to him with Dalby being so pressure hungry, especially if he comes out like over aggressive. I think the takedowns will be there for the taking for Sagid. And if not, then we're going to see a Dalby who is more relaxed and composed. And I think Sagid could win that fight all day long. 30-27, 29-28 at best. I think Sagid should win pretty comfortably here. Sagid is a minus 300 favorite, plus 250 for Dalby. I agree with the odds. Would have loved to see it, you know, a little bit closer, but I think Sagid is pretty solid. Let's get to the next fight. We got Nuralo Aliev taking on Shakim Shamrock. I'll be honest, I've been tossing and turning on this fight. I really don't like Aliev, man. He's like, I don't know. He's not that good to me. Like, he's got good takedowns or whatever, but I like the finishing upside of Shamrock. Both of these guys are pretty heavy grapplers. Uh, I do think Aliev will be more desperate for the takedowns, whereas Shamrock, he's got more of like that jujitsu takedowns, whereas Aliev is more of the natural wrestler. So it is gonna be a little hard for Shamrock to get like the to get the jujitsu going and like find his submissions that he's always looking for. I love his back takes. He could definitely get to people's backs really quick. We saw it last time in that, what fight was it? Yeah, the Porkno fight. Got it. I believe he subbed him in the first round, and it was rather quick, if I believe, or if I can remember. Yeah, 3 minutes into the first round, got the rear naked choke, got on his back, and he's got a nasty tight choke, man. Stefano Catacalo submission there a year and a half ago. I like the activity from him, fighting pretty often. 5 months ago, got a split decision. I want to pick him, but I am gonna pick him. I'm gonna pick Shamrock. Fuck it. I'm gonna pick Shamrock because I'm looking at Aliev last time out with Joe Selecki. You know, he got the takedowns, but he really couldn't pass guard with Joe Selecki. Joe Selecki was throwing up triangles, throwing up arm bars, had him in some really compromised positions. Then I'm looking in that third round, and he got mounted by Joe Selecki, who isn't that great of a wrestler. He's got pretty good grappling, but I think Shamrock is a little bit better on the feet too. I like his body kicks. He's not like a nasty kicker, but I like that body kick to drain Aliev, who has been slowing down in the third round. I think it's gonna be back and forth. It could be like a split decision. We are in Qatar, so maybe, you know, it'll go to the Tajikistan fighter. But I'm gonna pick Shamrock. I think he can create more danger opportunities as far as the grappling goes. Whereas, I mean, it's hard, man, because, you know, Aliev could just control the entire fight and it'll be a boring 30-27 just based off control time. But I like the finishing upside of Shamrock more. I would play like a Shamrock finish, a Shamrock sub, but I'll be tossing and turning on this fight. I'll be honest. I'm gonna pick Shamrock now, but I can see Aliev winning just based off pure control, which will suck. I do think we're gonna get a lot of decisions on this fight card, a lot of EVs, if you know what I'm talking about. OVs, EVs, OVs. Minus 275 for ALIEV, plus 235 for Shamrock. I understand the odds. Control is pretty decent for ALIEV, but like I said, I like the finishing upside of Shamrock. Over 2.5, minus 190 is definitely live. I'm a pick Shamrock for now though. We'll finalize everything on Friday. See how I'm feeling again. Next fight, we got Ryan Loder taking on Ismail Naurdiev. Ismail Naurdiev, former lock of the week, and shit the bed for us. I'm not gonna fade him because of that. I'm fading him because he has a clear hole in the grappling. Like he's decent. He's well rounded. He can strike and he can wrestle, but he can't put them together. And I think for a Ryan Loder fight, he is gonna need to put them together, because if he just strikes with Loder, Loder can find the openings and take him down. I don't think he's a better wrestler than Ryan Loder. I think Ryan Loder has better top control. He's got really nasty pins. He could do some really good damage. We saw it in a Valentine fight on the Ultimate Fighter. We got the TKO there, was threatening the submissions. I think he had him in a crucifix momentarily too, was throwing down some pretty heavy elbows. I know he got ran through by Bakoyev, but Bakoyev is a wrestling-based fighter who has some pretty explosive striking abilities. We just saw him get knocked out by Belgari, but that's a different matchup. But I think Loder can win. I think if Naurdiev is going to come out here and be striking heavy, there's definitely opportunities for him to get taken down. We saw it in the Jung Park fight where he got those, it was an illegal knee and he got 2 points deducted, and then Jung Park was able to grind him out with the wrestling. I think Ryan Loder could do a similar thing. His striking isn't terrible. He's got some really decent kicks. The hands, there's a lot to be desired with the boxing combinations, but I think Ryan Loder can get Naurdiev into a kickboxing match and then implement the wrestling, take him down, and really control him there and probably do some damage. So I think Loder is live for like a ground and pound or even a submission. I know, not even half the experience, 7-2, but Naurdiev, he's been trading wins and losses recently. He's coming into the UFC off a one fight win streak, and then he just dropped his most recent fight. He was in the UFC prior to this. I believe he went 2-3 overall. Yeah, 3-3 overall in the UFC. I don't think he's that good. I really don't understand, looking back at it, why I picked him as a lock against Jung Park. Bad decision on my behalf, but I think Loder can upset Naurdiev. He is sitting at a pretty wide underdog too. The line is actually moved. Plus 130, minus 150 for Naurdiev. I like Loder in this matchup. I think the wrestling is going to play a huge factor, whereas Naurdiev won't be able to implement that side of his skill set. If it's just primarily striking, I see Loder being able to set up the takedown. So give me Ryan Loder. I think ground and pound is live, or maybe 30-27. Next fight, we got a nasty bantamweight matchup. Bekzat Almakhan, Alexandre Topuria. This is probably going to be fight of the night because of how these guys' styles clash. I'm gonna lean Alexandre. The reason why I lean Alexandre is because I was listening to an interview with Taco Padilla, former alternate lock of the week, a couple weeks ago, 2 weeks ago to be exact. He was stating, he was more so talking about Ilya and how you can beat Ilya, and it's more so with like knees in the pocket, clinch, knees, elbows in the pocket and the clinch, things of that sort. Not really striking from the outside, because Ilya and Alexandre, they fight very similar, are able to like uncork big hooks that come over the top of a lot of guys' straight shots. I do favor Bekzat's speed. I think his strike speed is a little bit better. That knockout over Brackatona with that uppercut was definitely nasty, but the way that the Topurias move side to side, they got really good head movement. They move their shoulders back really well. They have pretty good slick boxing combinations that I think is going to frustrate Bekzat, especially in close. I think from range, Bekzat will probably be a little faster, get some really good kicks off, but well, it's I don't know if Ilya is going to be there coaching him. If not, that I mean that can play a big factor into things. But I think Alexandre is pretty solid. I think I kind of lost where I was going with that, but I think Topuria. I think he's got really good power. The wrestling for both of these guys is kind of interesting because we look back on Beksat's side where, yeah, he got controlled by Umar Nurmagomedov, but it's Umar, you know, 1-on-1. We know what the wrestling base looks like for the Nurmagomedovs. Topuria has that Greco-Roman wrestling base, but we've seen a lot of tosses. We saw him dump Kobe Thickness on his head last time out. We've seen Ilya Topuria implement that as well. Alexandre's pretty good, man. Beksat's really good too. I like the kickboxing from Beksat. He's got sneaky power, but I think Alexandre could just plot his way forward, cut off he cuts the octagon off really well too. Shrink the size of the octagon for Beksat, make it really difficult for him to get combinations off, time some takedowns. I think he could control him a little bit better than Umar did. It was it was 12 minutes of control time in that fight, so maybe not that good, but I do think Topuria can control him with some wrestling. I think he could do some damage with some ground and pound. I think the boxing is going to frustrate Beksat. It's a really close fight though, because you look at Beksat's side, you know, he's got really sharp kickboxing. The straight shots I really love. He's really bouncy on the feet, good speed. He does have a really good wrestling base, but doesn't have the best control, so you'll be getting back up to your feet if you get taken down by him. He does have the better competition, in my opinion. You look back at Topuria, where everyone's going to bring up this knockout loss, but it was 10 years ago. He has been pretty, you know, inactive, I'll say. He took like a 6-year hiatus. Took a fight against 7-18 and one guy got a TKO. The opposition for Topuria is very mid, trash. You could even say 1-9, 7-18, 3-1, and then Kobe Thickness. So it's hard to really rate him. If you're just going off the UFC fight with Kobe Thickness, I think he's pretty solid. I think he's really good. But Beksat, man, there's like a lot of unknowns with this matchup. I like that they booked it, but it's really hard to predict on either side. I'm gonna lean Topuria for now. I do think we're going over. I think it'll be probably a split decision at best because I do see both guys having a lot of success. But I'm gonna lean Alexandre. Sitting at close money dog right now, -101, -119 for Beksat. Over is sitting at -180. Both of these guys have power though, but Topuria was knocked out 10 years ago, is what it is. He gassed out in that third round. Beksat has only been submitted. What if Topuria takes him down and submits him? You have to understand that Ilya and Alexandre, both of these guys' base was the wrestling, then it was jiu-jitsu, and they got the kickboxing later in their path. So who knows, man? Who knows? Really fun fight. Hard as hell to break down, though. I'll tell you that much. I understand if you're on both sides, but I think I'm going to look at Topuria via sub. That might be something I might look at. I think he's got better control than Beksat. We saw Umar be able to control him. Yeah, he wasn't able to get the sub, but Umar's more so of a grinder. This is a tough fight. Really like the matchup, though. Let's move on. We got Kyoji Horiguchi taking on Tagir Ulanbekov. Kyoji making his return to the UFC. If you're not familiar, you know, he formerly fought Demetrius Johnson back in the day. Lost in the 5th round. I believe he got subbed. But Horiguchi's really good. I'm picking Horiguchi. Sitting at an underdog too. I like the odds on him. You look at Horiguchi, he's been doing very well for himself outside of the UFC. 34-5 record, pretty solid. I like his stance. It's like a karate-esque type of base, really wide. His stance is really wide. Good wrestling takedowns and open. That's one thing I really like. Like, he beat Zulu. A lot of guys are giving him flack because Zulu's really not that good. But it wasn't in the octagon where you're using the cage to get your takedowns. He was taking them down in the open. So that really stuck out to me. I like his takedown defense. He's got really explosive get-ups. He can threaten that front headlock position to get his own control going. Definitely wants to strike with a lot of people. I think he's got really good power in his hands. Got 15 knockouts on his record. I think he can be clipped, but not against Tagir Ulanbekov. Tagir has a really solid jab, but I think Kyoji will be the better striker out of the two. He's got 5-round experience. Like I said, second UFC stint. I think Kyoji's a pretty solid pick here. I'm looking at Tagir. His striking is pretty decent. Like I said, solid jab, strong control. He's got good takedowns. His control is typically good, but I don't know. As of lately, I think he's been slowing down. You look at Maxim fight, he was unable to get him down once, and he still won that fight somehow. Weird decision. Clayton Carpenter fight, it was back and forth. Cody Durden sub, salute. You know, a lot of people have submitted Cody Durden. Well, not a lot of people, but Nate Maness. Nate Maness is more. He's a bare knuckle fighter now. I don't think Ulanbekov is really that good. He's really like the runt of the Khabib camp. He's not really that good in my opinion. I don't think he really has a significant advantage in this fight. I think if he's stuck on the feet with Kyoji, I think Kyoji could sting him up. I think he could get clipped. I'm looking back at that Tim Elliott fight. Yeah, it was 4 years ago, whatever. But Tim Elliott dropped him in the first round. I think Kyoji can win decision or KO. I like his start. I like his striking. I like the speed that he still has. 35 years old. There's only 1 year apart. There is more miles on Kyoji, I'll tell you that much. But I think Kyoji's going to come back and make a statement. So give me Kyoji, Horiguchi, decision or KO. That's what I'm leaning. I think he can avoid the takedowns of Tagir. Plus 165 for Kyoji, minus 190 for Ulanbekov. As to be expected with, you know, the grind, the takedowns, the Nurmagomedov base. But I don't think Tagir's really that good. I'm going to go Kyoji Horiguchi. Next fight, we got a showcase. That's exactly what this is. Abdul Rahman Yakhyaev taking on Rafael Sequeira. Abdul Yakhyaev, first round KO. Or submission. Look out for the submission prop. That's something that could be definitely interesting. Does have a lot of finishes on his record. Does have decisions as well. KO 3 years ago. Where's the submission I was looking at? Yeah, the Jackie Jan. He can take you down pretty easily. Rafael Sequeira, long, rangy striker, but his chin is bad. He's got knocked out twice in his last 3 fights. But damn, I don't know what I just did there. Beatboxing. Modestus Bukakis knockout 8 months ago. And then Ibo Aslan finished him a year ago. He went to a decision with Julius Walker, but Walker had to really rely on the wrestling there. Sequeira had a really good 3rd round, but I don't think Julius Walker could do anything with Yakhyaev. I think Yakhyaev would run through both of them. Dude's really nasty, got really good striking, 78-inch reach. He's really speedy too. You look at the Contender Series fight, nasty body kicks. Damn near severed a man in half. I think he's got like shades of Magomed Ankalaev with better finishing upside. So I think Yakhyaev is a lock. I mean, so does everybody, but I think he's gonna rip the head off of Rafael Sequeira. Minus 1200, plus 750 for Sequeira. Over 1.5 rounds plus 200. Yeah, I think we're going under 1.5. I think we might even go under half a round. So I got Yakhyaev, KO or submission. I think he's going to behead Rafael Sequeira. Next fight, we got Luke Riley taking on Bogdan Grag. Scousers don't get knocked out. I'm going Luke Riley. I think Riley is solid, bro. He's got really good takedown defense. I think he limits the damage or the sub attempts when he does get taken down, and he's really good at getting back to his feet. I love the forward pressure from him. Takes the center really aggressively. He's in your face, and I like that clash with a Bogdan Grad who does, pretty much the same thing. But I like Riley's combinations better. I think he could get a lot of shots off on Grad. He's got that looping hook that got some power on it. Good head movement, tight defensive guard. I don't think Bogdan Grad is going to be able to clip a Riley with, singular shots. He throws like really big explosive shots, but I think Riley will be able to evade and get a really good combination off. I think he could clip him. I think Grad, you look at the forward pressure, it's solid. I respect it. But he's really got like wild striking combinations. He will look for takedowns, but I think Riley will be able to stuff him. I think Grad will get clipped in this fight. I'm looking back at the split decision win over Michael Aswell. Go look at that fight. He's getting clipped by jabs, getting cracked, wobbled. There's a couple times where he's wobbled in that fight. I think he could be beat to the punch against Luke Riley. A lot of his shots are really wide. And I think Riley is better down the middle with cleaner striking, cleaner combinations. I think Luke Riley is live for a finish, but I mean, yeah, I might say a finish, man. You go back, look at the Alexander Loof fight. He's got like two, I believe it was like back to back, um, like the greatest cage warrior fights or whatever you want to call them. But the Loof fight, he got clipped in the third or fourth round. Was able to defend pretty well, survived the round, came back out and finished Loof right after that. Dude is nasty. I like his mentality, very aggressive. I think he's got some decent power. It's really the volume that really gets a lot of guys. Really can't keep up with him. I think the volume is going to play a part here against Bogdan Grad. So I got Luke Riley, KO, but decision probably is what happens. Bogdan Grad's pretty tough. He has been knocked out once, and that was Tom Nolan. Yep, I remember that. Tom Nolan, really long rangey striker. I wouldn't be surprised if Riley knocked him out, but I want to see a knockout. Might be a decision though. Riley minus 250 plus 210. Wish this line was minus 150 makes more sense. Definitely wish the line was still around that, but I think that's where we're gonna get. Over 1.5 minus 200, under 1.5 plus 174. I would stay away from an over under. I would stay away. Yeah, I would stay away. Just put Riley in like a parlay piece or something like that. But yeah, I like Luke Riley. Next fight, main card opener. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got Alex Perez taking on Asu Almabayev. Gotta pick Almabayev. As much as I don't like him, I faded him with Jose Ochoa last time out, but the way that he was able to get the takedowns against a really dangerous kickboxer in Jose Ochoa tells me he's going to be able to do the same thing against Perez, whose base is wrestling. But you go back and look a year and a half ago, he's coming off that Tatsuda Taira fight where his knee was shredded. I don't think he had a fight. Oh, yes. So he had a fight scheduled against Steve Erceg, had to pull out of that because of an injury. I don't know what Alex Perez's mobility is going to look like. And if he's unable to, cut the corner on like a takedown or defending a takedown, Almabayev should be able to take him down and control him majority of this fight. He's got really good grappling. He does have some striking abilities, really good straight shots. Only way I would fade Almabayev is if he's taking on like really clean, heavy-handed strikers. Like Manel Kape doesn't have the heaviest hands, but he's really fast and has deceptive power. If it was like a Brandon Royval fight, I would fade him. If it was, I might fade him against Steve Erceg, but I can't fade him against Alex Perez. 1-4 in his last fight. His one win was a Mateus Nicolau knockout, but Nicolau has been knocked out by damn near everybody. He's got really good scrambles, but again, I think that mobility is going to be limited with the knee injury that he just had. He's going to have to be very active on the feet and deter Almabayev from shooting. But I don't think Perez has like, one-shot knockout power that's going to get Almabayev on his bicycle the entire fight. I think Almabayev will be able to walk through the flurries of Perez, take him down, control him, and he should win a control-based decision. So I'm going Almabayev via unanimous decision. Almabayev minus 200 plus 170 for Alex Perez. Over 2.5 minus 240. Yes, I believe so too. I think Almabayev is a really solid parlay piece. Next fight, we got Sergey Spivak taking on Shamil Gaziev. I'm going Gaziev. I think Gaziev can knock out Sergey Spivak. You go back and look at Waldo fight, and you're probably like, well, Waldo didn't do it, but Waldo was very wary of the takedowns because that's one thing that he's been having to evolve in his skill set, and we saw how good his takedown defense was in that fight. He was able to get back to his feet when he was taken down. I think when he got taken down probably like twice. But Gaziev, man, I think he's got really solid KO power. He's not scared to be taken down either because he has pretty good grappling himself. I think he's got better lateral movement. I think he's got he's better in range and in the pocket. He's got better volume than Sergey Spivak. But I will say Spivak striking definitely looked a lot better in that Cortez Acosta fight, from what I remember, prior to. He's been finished before. Tsurukyan knocked him out. Jailton Almeida knocked him out from Mount. I think Gaziev can knock him out too. Spivak, you know what he wants to do. He wants to take you down, grapple, find a submission, maybe a ground and pound, or even just ride you out. But I don't like how Spivak escapes the pocket. His chin is pretty high, stands pretty tall. He's got like that tall man syndrome, even though he's a shorter fighter here. But I think he's definitely slimmer. He's the slimmer fighter out of the two. Gaziev is a pretty massive guy. I think he carries more power. I think the way that he escapes the pocket, I think that chin could get touched. And I got to go with Gaziev via knockout. I think that's the way to go. I think Gaziev is a really solid pick here too. Minus 138, plus 118 on the money line. So this fight's getting pretty close. Open at minus 225. I think Gaziev is pretty solid. I think he's going to win here. Over 1.5, minus 155. I don't know. I've been pretty impressed with Gaziev, man. Got the sub 2 years ago on a contender series. Knocked out Martin Budai, which is that's pretty solid to have on your resume, especially seeing that Budai got cut from the UFC and he had a 7-1 record. That's pretty strange, but he really wasn't that entertaining. I think you go back and look at the Budai fight. I think it could play out similar to this matchup. I know he got finished by Jairzinho. He was tired in the corner, but since then he's looked all right. Dante Almeida's decision, and then Thomas Peterson knockout, where he was losing parts of the fight, but he still found the shot. I'm not saying that Gaziev's only path is a knockout. I think he could beat Sergey for 3 rounds too, but I do think he's going to be able to knock out Sergey Spivak. So yeah, I'm going Gaziev. Next fight we got Jack Hermansson taking on Miktabek OROLBAI. Jack Hermansson dropping down to 170 after getting flatlined 4 months ago definitely worries me. We've seen it time and time before where guys struggle at 185 and then they drop weight thinking that it'll serve them better. They'll carry some power down, but it's not what happens. Chris Curtis comes to mind. He fought at 185, got clipped by Kopylov, dropped to 170, and had a tooth and nail fight with Max Griffin. I'm trying to think of who else dropped from 185 to 170 who really hasn't looked good. But overall, just think about guys cutting weight to the division below them. They're not, the performance doesn't really look that good. There's a few guys who've been able to do it. Like, did Nathaniel Wood move up or down? I can't remember. I think he moved up. Steve Garcia, he moved down from 55 to 45. He looks really good, right? You got Steve Garcia, then you got Jack Hermansson. I don't think Jack Hermansson is going to be able to pull it off, make another run at 170 at 37 years old. Whereas OROLBAI, he was struggling to make 155. Last fight out, it was a catch weight at 165, and then he finally moved up to, I believe this is catch weight 2 against Tofik. But now, seeing that he's at 170, I think he's definitely going to be the better grinder. I think his gas tank will be a lot better than Jack Hermansson, who's training himself to 185. He's a pretty stocky guy, so for him to cut all this weight, it definitely scares me. Him getting knocked out also scares me. He's worsening that chin. I think OROLBAI is live for a submission. I think had Hermansson maybe made this move earlier in this year, he probably would have had a little bit more success, but I can't pick Hermansson dropping from 185 after getting flatlined. I think OROLBAI should be able to find a sub or just grind him out. He's pretty good. He's got really good kickboxing too. We saw it in that Rebecca fight, tooth and nail fight, back to back. Was able to, after getting his eye crushed, he was able to put on a pretty good performance and come back in that 3rd round and win the fight. Got the sub over Uros Medic in his debut. Elvis Brenner decision. He's been riding guys out. The Kimura on Tafik Musayev came through for us. We picked the sub there. I think OROLBAI is pretty solid here. Hell of a chin, grappling based game plan first. Yeah. Hermansson really starts pretty slow too. I think the way that if he's going to fight like that at 170 and getting taken down and repeatedly taken down, because I do think he'll probably get back to his feet, but I think he's going to be using a lot of energy to do that, and I think he's going to drain himself doing it. So I got OROLBAI probably like round 2, round 3 sub, but decisions always live as well. Like I said, we're probably going to have a lot of decisions with the way that these guys fight, but yeah, I'm going to go OROLBAI. OROLBAI sitting at minus 240 plus 205 on the money line. I think it makes a lot of sense. Over 2.5 minus 165. You could, yeah, that's, I'd say it's kind of safe, somewhat safe. But yeah, I'm gonna go OROLBAI, decision or submission. Feature fighter tonight, we got Volkan Ozdemir taking on Alonzo Atomic MENIFIELD. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I fade Alonzo MENIFIELD every chance that I get. I'm fading him here. I can't pick him. I can't pick him, bro. His last 2 wins were against Julius Walker, split decision. Julius Walker had some really good success on short notice against Alonzo MENIFIELD, and I thought Julius did enough to win. Then you look at the Umar Sy fight. Umar was really just selling out on takedowns, right? And Alonzo was able to defend because he's so strong. Now he's going up against a tactician of a kickboxer in Volkan Ozdemir. Way cleaner on the fight, way more polished. Yeah, he's coming off a loss against Carlos Oberg, but he had some moments in that fight. Like, you know, Carlos was able to pick him apart, but it wasn't like he was getting knocked out. A lot of people would have expected him to get knocked out, especially going back and looking at how Carlos did Dominic Reyes. I think Ozdemir is live for a knockout here. Good straight shot, still has some power, sneaky power too, better footwork, punch speed advantage, good takedown defense. I definitely see Alonzo being very reckless, throwing wild hooks, and Ozdemir just coming down the middle with something nasty, putting him out. He's been knocked out before. Azamat Mrzakano put him out. Carlos Oberg put him out. I believe he was knocked out prior to the Mrzakano fight too, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, OSP put him out. I think Ozdemir is next on the list to put him out. Ozdemir is pretty good, man. 36 years old. I know a lot of people aren't really that familiar with him because he doesn't fight as often, but the submission over Bogdan Guskov is really nice. He lost to Krylov, but that was when Krylov was really good. Paul Craig win. Johnny Walker knockout. Yeah, that Johnny Walker, I remember that, man. I think I picked Johnny Walker in that matchup, and he just shut him the hell off. I think Volkan Ozdemir is live for a knockout. I think he's a solid pick. I think he's a lock. So I'm going Volkan Ozdemir all the way. Minus 225, plus 190 for Alonzo. Like I said, I'm fading Alonzo every chance that I get, unless it's a matchup that makes the most sense, and this isn't one. Over 2.5, plus 120. Yeah, I don't know if we make it there because I do think Alonzo is going to get tapped. So give me Volkan. No time to waste, Ozdemir. Give me the knockout too. Co-main event of the evening. Welterweights going at it. Belal Muhammad taking on Ian, the future Machado Garry. Gotta go Ian Garry. Look, we all know what Belal needs to do, right? He needs to take Ian Garry down. But if you go back and listen to my breakdown of Islam and JDM, the difference between Islam and Belal's control is Belal doesn't really control a lot of guys on the mat. Yeah, he'll take you down, but you could definitely get back up to your feet. Ian Garry's a really slick kickboxer. He's got really good movement. His takedown defense is pretty good too. I think he can implement his own wrestling here and probably surprise Belal. Belal probably have, he's got pretty good takedown defense too, but I can see Ian Garry picking him apart from range. We saw Belal chasing JDM. I think Ian Machado Garry will be able to do the same thing too. When he sets his feet and throws combinations, he can't sting you up. I'm not an Ian Machado Garry fan, I'll be quite honest, but the kid is pretty good, man. I do think he wins this fight. It could be a boring decision where he's just piecing him up and moving, or he could get a little dirty and probably, try to put a statement on why he should be next for the title. But I gotta go Ian Garry. I can't pick Belal. He hit his pinnacle. He won the belt, dominant decision, and then he lost, getting dominated. Belal was on a long win streak, man. He was doing really well for himself, but I don't see him competing with the top tier of 170 here. I think his best chance will probably be against like a Colby, against maybe a Usman, but I can see Usman beating him. Maybe a Buckley, but I can see him getting punched in that one. I don't see him being able to compete with a Michael Morales, a Carlos Prates. Maybe a Sean Brady rematch, but it doesn't really make sense right now. If he loses, maybe it does. But I gotta go Ian Gary, man. Bilal's gonna need to wrestle. I think he's gonna be chasing a lot. Doesn't really cut the cage off well to shrink it. And this is a 3-round fight. He's not really gonna be able to implement his game plan over 3 rounds, whereas Bilal is more of like a 5-round fighter. If we had more rounds to work with, maybe you could start seeing Gary getting tired in round 4 and 5 like he did with Prates. But granted, that fight was on short notice. Now we got a full camp Ian Gary. I think he's gonna piece Bilal up. Does he knock him out? I don't think so. Bilal's got one hell of a chin. Maybe it was cracked by JDM, but I think Ian Gary wins via decision. Stinging him up from the outside, moving, doing the lateral movement. We've seen it time and time again. You go and look at the Neil Magny fight where he had the finish on the table and didn't take it. The Jeff Neal decision, moving, prancing around. The MVP fight looked really good. Shavkat fight, he did okay for himself. Short notice again, though. And then a short notice win against Carlos Prates, who looks phenomenal right now. So you got to go with Ian Machado Gary. I think he's the right pick on this one. Don't see anybody picking Bilal. Kind of strange to see. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to get any takedowns here. I don't think he's going to be able to do any damage. I think Ian Gary's going to pick him apart from range. So give me Ian Gary as a lock. Minus 225, plus 190 for Bilal. Over 2.5, minus 300. Yes, do believe we're going to a decision. And I think Ian Gary wins. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We got Arman Tsarukyan taking on Dan Hooker, the Hangman Hooker. I will be quite honest. I am more of a fan of Dan Hooker than Arman Tsarukyan, but I can't pick Dan Hooker. I like how relentless he is. I love that he's, always going to be down to bang. But I think that's what gets him in trouble in this matchup. I think Arman is definitely the pick. Superior wrestling. He's got really good striking. I think that can surprise Dan Hooker, thinking that he'll have like the advantage on the feet. Because he thinks he could put anybody out, but a lot of his wins are comebacks, bro. Like Gamrot was getting controlled early, was able to get back to his feet. Gamrot gassed out because he is an idiot, if I'm gonna be quite honest. So we picked Oliveira there because of that same idiot mentality that he has. But Hooker was able to get the best of him. Jalen Turner caught him with that head kick, was winning 2 rounds, was able to fight back into the later part of that second round after he ate that head kick and win that 3rd round. And then he almost got submitted by Puelles 3 years ago. Tsurukyan, he's got really good control. I think he's got some nasty ground and pound. You can see some elbows coming. The sub threat is going to be there because of, you got to really look at the flexibility that this guy has. Like he's throwing axe kicks at Charles Oliveira. You go and look at before, he pulled out of the Islam fight, he's doing crazy shit on his head, walking around on his head, whatever the fuck it was. Dude's got crazy flexibility. I think he can use that to set up, different submissions. And one thing that I like about Arman, like, yes, I gave him shit because he's been sitting out for so long, but he's also been doing some grappling matches recently. Back in May, submitted Patricky Pitbull, submitted Benson Henderson, and I think he ripped Benson Henderson's, I forgot what grappling match I was watching, but somebody's knee got shredded. I thought it was Benson, but yeah, no, he put Benson to sleep. That's what it was. But yeah, Arman's definitely going to set up the takedowns. I think he could get him pretty easily. Dan Hooker, he's pretty easy to control. Like he does do a decent job at getting back to his feet, but it's not against guys that are on the level of Arman Tsarukyan. So Arman Tsarukyan is absolutely the pick. I love Dan Hooker, but I don't think he wins here. And nobody does. Minus 500, plus 375 for Dan Hooker makes a lot of sense. Don't see Dan Hooker being able to find his way out of this one. Over 3.5, plus 105. I don't know, man. I think Tsurukyan is live for a sub. I don't know what submission it could be, but I think he's definitely live for a sub. Dan Hooker has been submitted 3 times. I know Islam did it. Who else submitted him? That's prior. But yeah, Islam. I mean, I put, Arman up there with Islam. I don't think he would beat Islam, but definitely would be competitive. I gotta go Arman Tsarukyan. It's the right pick. If you're picking Dan Hooker, you're really just chasing. I'm not a guy that's gonna chase. But that is the full card predictions for UFC Qatar. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of the picks. Let me know what you think of the breakdown. If you got a fight that you disagree on, I'd love to hear what you guys have to say as well. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, drop a W in the chat. If you ain't got nothing to say, support the channel. Turn your post notifications on because you know we got content dropping all week. Lock of the week coming this Wednesday. Weigh-in recap, full card recap as soon as the card is over. And I will see you guys on the next one. Peace out.